Internet, it is me, Real American Politics, and here we are, everybody, House Prediction Saturday. Kind of a surprise, I know, but after debating about when I should really release this video, I was planning to release the House prediction Sunday and the other two predictions on Monday. I decided it made much more sense. Okay, House prediction on Saturday, Governor's prediction on Sunday, and Senate prediction on Monday. Reason being is I don't want you guys to, get burnt down to watching all the predictions in under 24 hours. This is a good enough amount of time for all of you to watch each video separately. So we're going to do the House prediction today, Governor's prediction tomorrow. You get the point. This is kind of the best way to handle this because, it's a long video. I can already assume this is going to be a very long prediction. And so, yeah. Now, before we continue with today's House prediction, I hope you enjoy these type of videos. If you do, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share it to friends, hit that little bell, follow the Twitter account in the description down below. Enjoy the channel today. That's right, folks, for just 10 cents a day, you can join Real American Politics. Only 10 cents a day. That's a phenomenal deal as it helps support the daily content. We all love the daily content on this channel, so I hope you join today. Alright, like I said in the intro, the idea was for this video to be released on Sunday, but I decided, for viewership reasons, so you guys don't lose all your brain cells, having to watch all this in 2 hours, it's going to be released separately. And we're going to start the House today. Now, a very important factor about the House prediction as well, the generic ballot. It's been a tough one for me to decide how the generic ballot will look, but I'll show you guys what the aggregates show, what my aggregate shows, and what my final prediction is. So here, folks, is the RPD, Real Political Data, aggregate. I took polls that were on the RCP aggregate, or in one case, Big Data Poll, a good pollster, and aggregated the data all together, and I weighted based off of sample size and recency. So this makes sense. The higher the weight, the more the poll is weighed in the prediction. And the aggregate has Republicans have a 3.6 lead in the generic ballot. Now, as of now, the RCP aggregate has it as 2.8 for the Republicans instead of 3.6. The average aggregate, is an R plus 3.3 aggregate. Now, my final prediction for the generic ballot, I think is going to be roughly in line of a 5.1 lead in the generic ballot for Republicans. That means an R plus 5 electorate. Now, there is this chance this could go higher. I just have undecideds breaking, mostly for Republicans, but not all of them. There's a serious shot this could get up to 8 to 9 points. But I really don't see that just yet. But if it ends up as 8, 9 points, this could be a blowout. But I think reasonably a 5.1 generic ballot lead for the Republicans is, I guess, reasonable. And based on what we do have on Saturday, November 5th, 2022, this is the best guess I got for the generic ballot. Could things change? I doubt it, but we just gotta see. So Republicans are expected to win the generic ballot by around 5.1 points, but it could be upwards of 8 points, could be as low as 2 points. So there is a 3-point margin of error. So that's the other discretion to be advised. There is a margin of error, 3%. So it could be a 2-point lead, or it could be upwards of an 8-point lead. We just gotta see. Enough talking. Let's get into the final House prediction. Let's start in a seat that I never thought was going to be competitive in my lifetime, Alaska. This is a tough one. With the new system they created in the state of Alaska, it's tough to predict. It's an extremely hard race to predict because you have ranked choice voting, and you only have one example of this happening in Alaska's history. That was the special election that had Democrat win the race. Now, It's hard to tell because this is a general election. Republican turnout's probably going to be higher. But if I had to predict, I think Democrats are going to hold on to Alaska. You know, Murkowski's an utter moron. She may have just given Alaska to the Democrats for a while. It's going to be hard to beat this Democrat. And if you live in Alaska, I know I've said I supported Palin. She has been awful the past month. If you do live in Alaska, just vote for Bigich. I have my problems with him, but how Palin's been handled the past week, or I should say month at this point, it's been a total disaster. So I have Alaska as lean Democrat. That's kind of the big L of the night for Republicans. Alaska, one of the most Republican states in the country, I think will go to the Democrats. Now we got Arizona, and there are a couple of quote-unquote competitive House races. Again, I'm just putting this in leans. That means Republicans are more than likely going to win it. They're favored. That doesn't mean they're going to win it by just 1 point. Again, that's what leans mean for the House prediction. It just means it's more than likely going to break for one party or the other. Safe, it's pretty much, yeah, Kirkpatrick's not winning. Kirkpatrick is, or I should say, O'Halloran's not going to win. Arizona 6, that's gone. If Kirkpatrick was in the race, maybe, but highly doubt it. So Arizona first, that's Schweikart's district. I don't think I got to say much. With the R+5 electorate, it's going to be incredibly tough for Schweikart to lose. Now, Arizona 4, this is getting kind of intriguing. Now, Republicans have a candidate against Greg Stanton and Kelly Cooper, and with how much Republicans are expected to win the generic ballot by 5 points in my prediction, I think Greg Stanton holds on. But if it's R+8, he's in deep trouble. I've seen some of the internal polling from Arizona, in particular in Arizona 4th. He's leading, but it's not as much as you originally would expect. So Stanton, in my opinion, he's gonna win, I think, but if it's an R+8 electorate, eesh, he could be in trouble. So that's that for Arizona. There really wasn't that much happening. Now we go to California, and there are some intriguing races here to say the least. Starting with California 13th. Now, this is like 60% Hispanic. It's a very blue-collar working class district. There's only 11% of the district has a college degree. So you would think, okay, heavy Hispanic population, heavy working class population, this should be basically safe Republican. Well, guess what? Republicans nominated a horrible candidate in John DeRate. And the Democrat who's running in Adam Gray, he is more of a moderate Democrat. Now, this will be a close race. This absolutely will be a close race. It can come down to the wire. But I do think, end of the day, it's a leaning Democrat. But if DeRate ends up winning, that won't be shocked. It's one of those races where he could really win that race for Republican. I just think Adam Gray is slightly favored in 13th. So there's not much to say there. Now we got California 22nd. This is Valadio's district. Earlier, I was very skeptical if he was going to hold on. Not because it's an extremely Democrat seat. That's part of it. But how he performed in the primary. He's a pretty big overperformer. But the fact he nearly lost the primary, that's a bad sign. But I do think, end of the day, Valadeo wins. The Democrat they picked there is horrible. Rudy Salsa, I think that's the guy's name, essentially won't campaign. She won't campaign. I don't know who the Democrat is. I'm pretty sure it's a she. I could be wrong. But from what I've seen, they won't campaign, won't debate. Valadeo, went on the debate stage by himself. That's not a good sign if you refuse to debate. So I think California 22nd, Valadeo holds on because of luck. I think he dodged a big bullet this cycle. He should have lost that primary, but he did end up winning it. So Valadeo, I do think, holds on. Mike Garcia in California 27th. I don't think I got to say much here. With an R+5 electorate, it's not going to be that close, in my opinion. Like, yes, it is a Biden +12 seat, but it's one of those seats like Garcia, 100% is a strong candidate in. It's majority Hispanic / Asian district. It's 50% Hispanic plus Asian. That's a good combination. That means 39% Hispanic, 11% Asian. So it's 50% Hispanic / Asian. Two groups that I do think Republicans will make significant gains this cycle. And I think Garcia overall was a strong candidate. He's going to, end of the day, win in California 27th, I think, fairly easily. Now, speaking of Southern California, there's two seats that have emerged as surprisingly close. California 47th and the 49th. I think the 47th, this is Katie Porter's seat, it's going to be close. It's going to be down the wire. I think Porter wins. But California 49th, Mike Levin, you're done. Yes, I know this is a fairly Biden-friendly seat. It's a Biden plus 11 seat. But Mike Levin is one of the biggest underperformers in the country. And you're going against a solid Republican in a red wave of an R+5 electorate. What do you think's going to happen? When even I think Biden campaigned for him, you're in deep trouble if Biden is barnstorming that district for you. I think it was Biden. I think this was the area that he was in. But either way, that's not a good sign if you're Democrats. If you're losing California 49th, that's a bad sign. So that's that for California. Now, Colorado, I don't think I really got to say much about these two. Colorado 8th, trending Republican. Colorado 7th is just a bit too Democrat. Even without the incumbent running for re-election, I think Democrats still hold on. Colorado 8th, I don't think I got to really say much. It's trending Republican, heavy Hispanic population, and Republicans have a decent candidate running there, and Democrats not so much. So I think Colorado 8th will go to the Republicans. Trending Republican again, it's not really that competitive in my opinion. The fact that Democrats are more invested in Colorado 7th, I think says enough. So that's that in the state of Colorado. Now we got Connecticut. There are 2 House seats in Connecticut. Connecticut 2nd, I think it's going to be close, but Joe Courtney's going to hold on. If Stefanowski was running a good governor's campaign, there was a shot to potentially beat Courtney. Now, on the other hand, Connecticut 5th, you have Jahana Hayes running against George Logan, running a decent campaign from what I've heard. And this is a seat that I do think somebody like George Logan could win. It's not as big of a Biden seat as you would originally think. It's Biden plus 11. But in this environment, that's teetering towards, is this going to be, Republican seat or Democrat? I think end of the day, Jahana Hayes will hold on. Barely. I think she holds on by the skin of her teeth. If this seat flips, I will not be shocked. I just think as of now, Connecticut 5th will hold on for Hayes. So there's not much to say about Connecticut other than that. Florida, there is 1 seat. Florida 23rd. I think Democrats hold on to that seat. It's technically an open seat. They're going to win that seat. Now, if DeSantis wins Florida by 15-16, there may be something down there. If Rubio wins by 12, there could be something that happens there. But it's not that Hispanic compared to the rest of the Miami area. It's 58% white, only 20% Hispanic, which is peanuts compared to the rest of the Miami area. Now, the reason it could flip as well, it is in that part of the country that is trending significantly Republican, but I just don't really see it. Could it happen? Yes. It's unlikely. So Florida, 23rd, goes Democrat. Georgia 2nd. I think Democrats, they're going to hold on for this cycle in Georgia 2nd, but it's going to be close. And if it's R+8, that's, I think, the best case scenario for Republicans, it could flip. I just think with Sanford on the ballot, he's a good candidate for the Democrats, especially for that seat. Big overperformer. It's a plurality black district. It's just one of those nuts that are hard to crack. Now, when Bishop retires, you may have a shot here. I think Bishop being on the ticket just makes the seat just too far out of reach for Republicans. But I do think Georgia 2nd's one of those seats that Republicans in the future could make some ground in. So that's that in Georgia. Now we got Illinois. And we're going to start in Illinois 6. Look, I know a lot of people are giving me shit for this. I swear, Republicans are going to win Illinois 6. There's something happening in Illinois. I think the governor's race, I'm not talking about it that much, it's going to be closer than people expect. With that in mind, Sean Casten is a pretty heavy underperformer. I mean, Biden won the seat by 11, but, Casten underperformed Biden by around 5 points in his old seat. What do you think's going to happen? That's more so like a Biden plus 6 seat when you got Casten on the ballot. So I think with all that in mind, it is leaning towards Republicans. Though if it ends up going to Casten, I wouldn't be shocked. But I do think Republicans, with what's currently happening with trends in the generic ballot, they're slightly favored in Illinois 6. I know I'm going to get a lot of crap for that, but it's going to be close either way. But I think Republicans, slight favorites in that seat. Now we got Illinois 13th. I think it leans Democrat. It just, you don't got an incumbent there. Like, if Ronnie Davis or anybody like that was running here, I know Ronnie Davis sucks. He may have been able to win this seat, but I don't know. It's one of those things where I just don't think Republicans are going to win the seat this cycle. If they do, it would be a pleasant surprise. I just think it's out of reach for Republicans as of now. Illinois 14th. This is, of course, Underwood's seat. She'll hold on. She's going to hold on by a couple points. I just don't see the Chicago Burbs shifting that much, especially when you don't got that big of an underperformer, unlike Casten. I mean, that's why Illinois 6, I think, flips, because you got Sean Casten on the ballot. Illinois 14th, on the other hand, Underwood, yeah, she underperforms by like a point. That's nothing compared to how bad Casten does compared to other Democrats. But, I don't know. Illinois 14th, I think Republicans do lose. Illinois 17th. If Bustos was on the ballot, they would have won this race easily. The Republicans picked a horrible candidate in Easter King. She sucks on the issues, but somehow the Democrats picked an even worse candidate in Eric Sorensen. Now, if Bustos was on the ballot, this is a Biden plus 8 seat. She would have won this race, I think, fairly easily, especially with King being the Republican nominee. But Illinois 17th, I think Republicans will win just because it's a trending seat, and it's a red wave. So that's that at Illinois 17th. Now, Indiana first. A month ago I said Republicans had no shot here. They nominated a horrible candidate. I regret endorsing Ruth Green. But then the past couple of weeks, I don't know what Frank Mervin's campaign's doing. I think they're trying to blow up his campaign. I mean, the amount of scandals happening to this campaign about, falsifying documents with, like, the military stuff over Ruth Green's, like, service stuff, it's like, what? And Ruth Green's been surging from what I've seen. Now, the reason that Ruth Green may lose is Frank Mervin is a big overperformer in a Biden plus 8 seat, and I think Mervin will win at the end of the day. But if Ruth Green wins, this is a video on its own. This is an own video right here, because a lot of shit happened with Frank Mervin's campaign that if they'd have to say anything about Ruth Green's service, he would have won this race easily. But nope, he may lose this race because of pure incompetence. So that's that in Indiana first. Now we got Kansas third. Sure, David's losing. I'm sick and tired of this crap by New York Times putting Davids up by 15 or whatever it was. No! This is a Biden plus 4.5 seat with a big underperformer on the ticket. I don't care about my abortion referendum. It's not going to save Davids. The primary data was a disaster for Republicans or Democrats in Kansas. Now, it will be closer, I think, because the governor's race is a lot tighter than we originally thought. But Davids is losing. I'm sick and tired of these people going around saying, oh, Davids will win. No. In this environment, no. Now, if it was R plus 2, maybe you could make the argument she could hold on. I just don't see it. So Kansas, third, is out of the way. Now we got Maine. Maine second. You got Paula Quinn versus Jared Golden. All right. Golden, he is, I would consider, the most conservative Democrat in the House. Now, that's not saying much, but he is the most conservative Democrat in the House. And a massive overperformer. Now, this is where it gets, again, a bit dicey. Golden may have won in 2020 because Trump did a little bit worse in this district compared to 2016. But I still think, end of the day, Golden is a very slight favorite. Now, LePage, who's the governor's candidate for the Republicans, he may help Paula Quinn out here. I just think, as of now, in Maine second, Republicans, they're not favored. They're just going against too strong of a candidate in Jared Golden. Now, if he loses, I won't be shocked. It's not that big of a reach to say Golden could lose. So that's that in Maine. I don't think I gotta really say much about Maine second. It's just a very close race. Fairly Republican, but you got a good candidate for that seat in Jared Golden. So there's that. Now we got Maryland 6. I don't think I gotta say much. David Trone's losing. Trone is an awful candidate, especially for Maryland 6. And when you got a really good candidate in Neil Perrette as a Republican nominee going against a fairly big underperformer, that's not a good combination for Republicans or Democrats in a seat like Maryland 6 that I think it trended a bit Democrat in 2020, but it's one of those seats where I can 100% see being kind of a future Republican stronghold as a House seat. Now, currently it isn't, but we just got to see. I wouldn't be shocked if Perrette wins by quite a bit. We just got to see what happens in Maryland 6, but I think that's not much to say there. Now, Michigan. There are three competitive House seats in Michigan. First is Michigan third. This is where John Gibbs beat Peter Meijer in the primary. I think Gibbs is a slight favorite. I think with the current environment, and in a part of the state that I truly believe had a fluke swing in 2020, I mean, you look at some of the primary data in 2022, it didn't look that good for Democrats. And you look at the precinct data from 2020, it would just turn out that they're not going to get again from certain precincts in downtown Grand Rapids. That's kind of what happened in Michigan third. That's why it was a Biden plus 8.5 seat. Now, it's going to be a close race, but I do think John Gibbs, at the end of the day, will pull it off. It's not that college educated compared to other seats. It's 33% college educated, so it's not as big as Michigan 7th, for example, but I think Gibbs is a slight favorite. Now, Michigan 7th, speaking of that, this is Slotkin's district going against a Republican and Tom Barrett. You got somewhat of an overperformer in Slotkin. She's not the biggest overperformer, even in Michigan, but she is about a point overperformer. Now, this is an 82% white seat with a fairly big working class base. I just don't see how Slotkin holds on. I truly don't. And the same thing for Kildee. I don't know how these two can hold on at this point. Even some of the Eternals that have been released, they have Slotkin down by like a point or Kildee down by like 2. It's like, when they're even admitting that these two seats are starting to trend a bit Republican for this cycle, they're done. They're not going to win either of these seats. So Republicans, they're looking pretty good shape in Michigan, but things could happen. We just got to see. Now, Minnesota, there is one competitive seat. This, of course, Minnesota second. Now, you got a big underperformer on the ticket, Angie Craig, running against a Republican and Tyler Kistner. But that's not the biggest story about this race. The weed parties. Again, end of the election cycle, we're sending the weed parties a bunch of gift baskets. Minnesota's second is going to flip off the back of a weed party candidates, taking votes away from Craig. It's absolutely funny. And it's about time that Democrats, pay the piper for, getting the libertarians on the ballot everywhere and they siphon off 1%. Well, this is payback. So I think Minnesota second would have flipped either way. Craig is not that good of a candidate for this seat, but the biggest reason they're going to lose this seat as well, the weed parties. It's absolutely hilarious that that's happening. But Minnesota second, I think it's just a matter of how much Republicans do win that seat. So that's that for Minnesota. Now, Nebraska, I don't think, Nebraska second, I decided that's not really competitive at all. People that really think Nebraska's second's in trouble, yeah, I got a bridge to sell you in Brooklyn. It's not. So now we go to Nevada, the beautiful state of Nevada. It's looking pretty good for Republicans in the state of Nevada. Now, Nevada first, Dina Titus, this is a bit more a Biden seat, but she may be in the biggest trouble. From the polling we've seen from Nevada first, from Emerson, she is underperforming by a lot. So much so, I think she loses. I think she bites the bullet, and Titus finally loses. Now, it's kind of shocking because this is the most Democrat seat of the three. Mark Robinson is going to be the congressman from this seat, I think. I wouldn't be shocked if this seat goes Democrat. I just think Republicans will win this seat. Now, Nevada third. April Becker is a Republican. I think Becker wins. Barely. It's going to be a close race with Susie Lee on the ballot. Though I think with Republicans about to sweep both the Senate and governor's race, I don't think it's that far-fetched. Now, this is the one race that should be a slam dunk if these two are flipping. Nevada fourth. Horsford is one of the most corrupt congressmen in the country. Not running a good campaign, and I think he's going to win. Why? The Republicans abandoned Sam Peters in this seat. It's a disgrace what the Republicans did in Nevada 4th. Tom Emmer needs to resign. He's the head of the freaking Republicans House Committee. It's a bunch of crap what they did to Sam Peters. If he would have had even a cent of funding, he would have won this seat. But nope, Republicans abandoned him for no apparent reason, just, because I don't like him. He's going to vote against Kevin McCarthy or something like that. I don't think that's exactly the case, but that's what it sounds like. So Nevada 4th is only going to go Democrat, in my opinion, because of freaking clowns of the Republican National Convention. Now, if Horsford loses, I wouldn't be shocked. Just because of how much of a wave this is, how much of a potential wave this could be. I mean, R+8, Horsford 100% loses. But if there's one seat to go Democrat, I wouldn't be shocked if it's Nevada 4th. I cannot believe I have Nevada 1st breaking for Titus, but Nevada 4th breaking for Horsford. I hate the Republicans. Sometimes I have some big problems with the Republicans at the national level. Just why? Now we got New Hampshire. New Hampshire 1st is gone. I don't think I'm going to have to say much there. LaVitte's going to win that race easily. She's running a phenomenal campaign, running against not the best of candidates. Not running a good candidate in Pappas at all. That's why I think LaVitte's going to win. Now, Bob Burns in New Hampshire 2nd. That's the Republican. I don't think he's going to win. But if I think there's an upset of the night for the House races, I think it's New Hampshire 2nd. From the electorate alone, this could be a very close race. And Bob Burns, I just think this was a wrong seat for him. I truly do. If this was New Hampshire 1st, he would have won this race easily. But New Hampshire 2nd, Bob Burns, he's going to lose, but I think it's going to be much closer than people expect. There's been some polling in New Hampshire that shows all of them are in trouble. Not just Hassan or Pappas, but even Custer. If all three lose, that would be hilarious. But I don't think New Hampshire 2nd will flip this cycle. It could, I just don't think it will. Now we have the great state of New Jersey. I don't think I got to say much about New Jersey 5th. It's going to be closer than usual, but that's about it. Not much to say there. Now we have the great state of New Mexico. Now here's the intriguing part. New Mexico 2nd, I don't think is going to be that competitive. Harrell was an underperformer of Trump in 2020, but she was running against a somewhat popular incumbent. And I know this seat got a bit more Democrat, but Harrell's going to win fairly easily. That's why I have it as not that competitive. Even some of the polls that have been released show, Harrell's not going to lose that race. She's just fine. Now, New Mexico 30, on the other hand, I think it's going to be closer than usual, but I think Republicans will lose the seat. Though I wouldn't be 100% shocked if this does flip. According to the electorate, this could be like a D+2 seat this cycle. Not saying it will, but there's a shot it is. That would be way too close for comfort if I was Democrats. In R+8 electorate, this could seriously flip. I don't think it will, but it could have the potential to actually flip. So there we got New Mexico. Now we got New York. There are a couple seats in New York that, especially with how close the governor's race is going to be, even now the Senate race is potentially going to be within 15. There's a lot of House races that I never thought was going to be this close, but now they are. First up is New York 3rd. You know, I usually root for Republicans no matter what, some circumstances. But this is one of those races where if the Republican lost in New York 3rd, I wouldn't shed a tear. George Santos, you're going to win because of Zeldin. That's it. I'm not going to say much more about that race. You don't deserve it. You suck. Just go away. But New York 3rd, Santos wins because he does absolutely nothing. It's like the Luigi meme. That's about that for New York 3rd. It's Santos is awful. He should have never got the nomination, but he did. So New York 3rd, I think, leans Republican just because, yes, that's kind of the reason that it's such a big environment for the Republicans. Clowns like Santos will win probably. Now, New York 4th, Kathleen Rice, if she was on the ballot, this won't be that close, but it's going to be closer because she's not on the ballot, so New York 4th, I think, leans Democrat. Now, New York 17th, again, the only reason that this is going to be closer is because of the environment. I don't think it's going to flip. I just think it'll be closer than usual. That's why it's not 100% safe. Now, New York 18th. This is the one seat that if I hear one more thing about frickin' Pat Ryan, I'm just going to lose it. I think he loses. That's the most ironic thing I've heard this cycle. The guy that started this Moreau momentum crap because he won in a special election that he only won because of stupid reasons, because of frickin' primary and all that crap. It's like, no. Pat Ryan, he's not going to win at this point. Now, is there a chance he can? Yes, absolutely. If Pat Ryan wins, I wouldn't be that shocked. But it's going to be funny if he ends up losing by the amount I think he will. It'd just be the most ironic thing this entire cycle. I do think Republicans are favored in the seat by a couple points. Now, New York 19th, Merrick Milano, he's the guy that lost to Ryan originally. I know it's a weird situation. New York 18th. You get the point. He is going to win that race. The fact that the guy that lost the special election in the summer and the guy that won, the fact the guy that lost is going to be the next congressman in New York 19th, but the guy that lost is going to lose his House seat. It's such a weird situation that happened here because of redistricting, all that stuff. But New York 19th, I think Republicans will win. Same thing in New York 22nd. They're going to win even without Katko running. Republicans are going to win this seat. It is Biden plus 7.5, but in this environment, that's not enough. That's just not enough, especially if you don't have an incumbent Democrat that's popular. You really don't got a popular Democrat here from what I've heard. So New York, end of the day, I think Republicans will win New York 22nd. So they do pretty good in New York. There's some potential sleepers here, but that's that. North Carolina, 13th, I don't think I gotta say much. This is a seat that went to Biden by, 2 points? Yeah, no. Hines is going to win. Now, North Carolina first. If Butterfield was running, he would have won this race easily. The fact that he's not, it's going to be closer, but I think, end of the day, Democrats do win. Now, if Republicans flip this seat, I wouldn't be that shocked. I mean, without Butterfield on the ballot, Democrats could be in trouble in this seat. And how much Ted Budd's going to win? Yeah, this is one of those seats that could 100% flip. I just think Democrats are slightly favored here, especially with the demographics of this seat. It is over 41% black, but things could happen. Black turnout's going to be down this year. Could it happen? Yes. I just don't think it's likely. North Carolina first, I think Republicans, end of the day, lose. Now we go to the state of Ohio. My man, J.R. Majewski, running against Kaptur. Look, I don't care what the frickin' RNC and those clowns do about, pulling funding. Bunch of frickin' pansies, in my opinion, for abandoning Majewski because, Politico, which has lied 100 times the past 5 minutes, posted a BS story. Look, Majewski's gonna win this seat. I don't care about, Kaptur's an incumbent. I don't give a crap. This is a Trump plus 3 seat. Even with an overperformer like Kaptur, she is done. She is done. She's not going to lose by like 50 or anything like that. She's going to lose by like 3 to 4. This idea that Majewski is going to lose because, what the Politico says. 90% of voters don't give a crap about what Politico says when the economy is in such a bad shape that it just, I don't get it. I do not get why people really think Majewski's going to lose in this environment. He's going to win. So that's that in Ohio. Oregon, there are 3 competitive seats. Starting with Oregon 4th. Now, Oregon 4th and Oregon 6. Oregon 6 in particular. Democrats are in deep trouble. If they're funding that much money into Oregon 6, Oregon 5th is gone. Oregon 5th, especially with Schrader off the ballot, this race is gone. Now, Oregon 4th, without DeFazio, this is going to be a close race. I just think this is a tad bit too Democrat of a seat. I think, end of the day, Republicans will lose this seat by a few points. I think Democrats will carry the seat, but it will be closer than expected. Oregon 6, they're going to hold on to it, but the fact they're funding that much money in Oregon 6 really makes me question Oregon 4th just a little bit. But we just got to see what happens in Oregon. There's a potential Republicans win Oregon 4th. I don't see it, but there is a serious possibility. Now we got Pennsylvania. Starting in Pennsylvania 7th, no. Susan Wild's not winning. She's not going to win. She's just not going to win. She's in a Biden plus 0.5 seat. And, right, or what is she, Biden plus 4 or something, Biden plus 0.5 or something like that? She's not going to win. These people that really think Wild's going to win because she won in 2018 and 2020, whoop-de-frickin-do. It's an R plus 5 electorate, potentially be an R plus 8. Even in an R plus 2 scenario, Wild would win. This idea that, or she would lose, this idea she could somehow win in this environment, no, she's done. And very similar to Cartwright, though it will be a bit closer because he is somewhat of a bigger overperformer. Though, question is, how much will that matter in this election? I don't think that much, but we can see. Now, Pennsylvania 17th. If Lamb was running, this seat wouldn't go anywhere. But I think, ironically, with Mehmet Oz being on the ballot, it's going to help Republicans in a place like Pennsylvania 17th. I think they win it. If this was Connor Lamb, they would lose it. That Republicans would easily lose this seat. But since he's not running in this seat, it's only a Biden plus 6 seat. I think all of that can go well. Now, there is one safe Democrat seat that really is really confusing. Pennsylvania 12th. Look, I didn't make a video on Pennsylvania 12th, but I must discuss this. Mike Doyle is the Democratic incumbent for 14 years, or 14 terms. But guess what? He's not running this cycle. But Republicans have a guy named Mike Doyle running in this seat with the other Mike Doyle not on the ticket. If this race is close, I would not be shocked. I swear to God, if this race flips because people thought this was this Mike Doyle, I would laugh hysterically. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think it'll be a lot closer than expected because of that one fact. But we just got to see what happens. So Pennsylvania, that's that. Just a little fun tidbit about Pennsylvania 12th. Really weird situation impending in Pennsylvania 12th. Now we go to Rhode Island. My man, fun. You're going to win that race. When the Democrat pollsters are admitting they're losing Rhode Island second, it's over. It's over. They're not going to win that seat. So Republicans, they're going to win Rhode Island second. Probably by quite a bit, but we just got to see what happens. Now to the great state of Texas. Texas 28th. Cuellar, I think, is going to hold on. It sucks. I do not want him to win. I thought maybe with his pivot on abortion, he may have lost, but he may have saved himself. He may have, just barely. Now, if he loses, I wouldn't be shocked. But I think, end of the day, Republicans are going to lose Texas 28th by like 3 to 4 points. But if Cuellar loses, I wouldn't be shocked. Now, in the inverse, Texas 34, I think Flores holds on. I think Flores holds on just by a little bit. I know this may have sounded crazy, especially in a Biden plus 16 or 15 seat or whatever this was. But this is a part of the country that's trending significantly Republican. And the fact that you technically got 2 incumbents in this race, these type of elections usually have some wonky results. And I don't think it's not going to happen here. I think there's going to be a really weird election in Texas 34. But we just got to see. So that's that in Texas. Now we got Virginia with 2 House seats that I really want to pay attention to. Virginia 7th. Spanberger, I think, loses. Very close race. If she wins, I wouldn't be shocked. But I do think, end of the day, she loses. Now, Virginia 10th. This is Jennifer Wexton's seat. Now, this is a Biden plus 18 seat. The reason we're discussing is, well, you got a massive overperformer, and Youngkin did very good in this seat. And you got a good Republican in Hun Cao. The problem is, I think it's just a bit too Democrat for Hun Cao to win. Though I think it'll be close, I think he loses. So that's that in Virginia. And this is it. The very final House district to discuss. Washington 8th. You know, you got a big underperformer in Kim Schreier in a Biden plus 7 seat. In a seat that's 73% white and not that college educated compared to the rest of Washington. I think with all of those factors, Kim Schreier is on her way out this cycle. And that's that, folks. That is my final House prediction. This is what my map looks like. Again, there's some races that could flip, like Illinois 6, New Hampshire 2nd, etc. But I think Republicans will get around 240 to 252 in the House. So plus or minus 6 House seats is my prediction. So 246 is my median, 252 I think is the ceiling, 240 is the floor. Anyways, folks, thank you so much for watching my final House prediction. This has been a very fun election cycle. I hope you guys enjoyed all the predictions. But everybody, if you live in the United States of America and can vote, get out and vote. Thank you so much for watching. See you guys in the next video. Godspeed to all of you.